بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وعملا صالحا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. We'll continue our discussion on the book of major sins, and now we are in a new chapter, and the name of this chapter is Bab al-Qalaq wal-Ittirab. Bab al-Qalaq wal-Ittirab, meaning that the chapter of anxiety or being impatient or causing commotion due to the decree of Allah, due to what Allah allowed to happen. And last class, the last chapter is similar to this one. The last chapter is about a person being angry by the decree of Allah. A person being angry about things that Allah allowed to happen to a person. You know, what are the things that people do when they get when bad things happen to them? What do they do? What can tell us? Okay. They question Allah existing. Now, what else? They start moving to haram things. They start doing things that are prohibited from them. Okay? Sometimes they start using foul language and so on and so forth. Right? And they start getting out of their hands, especially in the environment that we're in. We know when things bad happen to people, people go crazy. And they act, you know, all kind of, they are belligerent, as they say, right? And so on and so forth. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He has decreed that things are going to happen. And the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal of two types. The decree that Allah lets it happen in the world, the worldly decree. Allah allows people to be born. Allah causes people to die. Allah allows people to get sick. Allah causes people, people to get into accidents, right? And so on and so forth. Everything that is happening in the world is by the permission of Allah. And the second type of decree is the decree of Allah, or Allah has legislated upon us. This Islamic decree. Example of that is what? The Salah. Allah decreed that upon us. Right? It can be difficult. Right? The first type of decree, we don't have no choice in that. We don't have a choice if we die, when we die. Or if we give birth, we don't have no choice in some of those. We don't have choice. But the second type of decree, which is Islamic decree, the religious decree, is a decree that we have choice in. Right? And this is to the wisdom of Allah. Allah give us. And this is a test for us to see who's going to obey Him. The religious decree is to see who's going to obey Him and who's not going to obey Him. As for the worldly decree, everyone is the same. Right? Everyone is the same. We have no choice in that. And this topic that we are talking about is opposite of what we talked about last week, which is the people or people getting angry. Some people, the anger is not a problem. They go to the other extreme. They go to extreme depression. Right? They go to depression. They go to anxiety. Both of them are from the major sins. Both of them are from the major sins, and they are negation of faith. They are negation of faith. So the author or the Sheikh Salih Fawzan explaining this chapter, he said هذا الباب, he said كأنه تفسير للباب الذي قبله. He said this chapter is like explanation of the chapter that came before. All right. Some people, like I mentioned, some people, they are, if something bad happens to them, they're not gonna get upset. They're just gonna go into this state of anxiety, and instead of, people are different in that regard. Some people will spaz out, they will latch out, right? Some people, they're just gonna go into their depression. They could be on their own. They're just gonna go to their own bubble, as they say, right? So it says, فالقلق والاضطراب عند وقوع القضاء والقدر يعد من الكبائر. It says a person being in a state of worry and sadness when a tribulation or trial happens to a person is regarded as from the major sins. What the Shaykh is trying to say is that it doesn't mean that a person does not get sad. Right? We're human beings. Right? But going to the state of sadness where it takes you, where a person loses himself. A person can get sad. It's not, even Prophet ﷺ gets sad when he's lost his son, Ibrahim. The Prophet ﷺ lost his son, Ibrahim. And he said, Al-Ayn tadma. The Prophet ﷺ said, when he lost his son, he says, the eyes shed tears, while qalbi yahzan, and the heart is sad. The heart becomes sad. وَلَا نَقُولُ إِلَّا مَا يُرْضِي الرَّبِّ. And we do not say anything except what it pleases Allah. Right? We get sad, the heart gets sad. But now, it is that a person does not go into the extreme of being sad. Not just like a person does not go in the extreme in getting angry either, as well too, in terms of things that happen. A person does not be angry with the decree of Allah. A person does not be angry with the decree of Allah. So the Shaykh says, وَأَمَّا الرِّضَى بِقَضَاءِ وَالْقَدَرِ وَأَمَّا الرِّضَى بِقَضَاءِ اللَّهِ وَقَدَرِهِ فَهُوَ عَلَامَاتِ الْإِيمَانِ. So a person being pleased with the decree of Allah, what Allah decree is from the signs of faith. It's from sign of faith. عليكم السلام الله. عليكم السلام الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم. السلام عليكم. أنت من السعودية ها؟
أنت من السعودية؟
الله يبارك فيك.
أنا من اليمن.
ما شاء الله. الله يبارك فيك. ما شاء الله. نعم. آمين. إيه. وقف إن شاء الله. الله يبارك فيك. طيب. So he's saying that if a trial befalls a Muslim or something happened to him, it does not right, being pleased with that is from the signs of faith. It's bliss means that it's sign from faith. It says أنزل الله عليهم السكينة والطمأنينة وعدم القلق. He said if a person is patient, if he does not spaz out, Allah will send tranquility down upon that person. If you don't go with if you're pleased with the decree of Allah, things happen and you believe that it's from Allah, Allah will send that tranquility down upon you. He said, just like as it happened to the Prophet ﷺ, when the disbelievers of Mecca, they expelled him. They expelled him from Mecca. The Prophet ﷺ, when he was preaching Islam, when he was preaching Islam, the disbelievers of Mecca, they wanted to kill him. So he left Mecca with his friend Abu Bakr. So Allah mentioned this in Surah Al-Tawbah verse 40, where Allah said, إذ أخرجه الذين كفروا ثاني اثنين إذ هما في الغار إذ يقول لصاحبه لا تحزن إن الله معنا فأنزل الله سكينته عليه. So he says that Allah, when those disbelieve, they expelled them from Mecca with his second, meaning with his friend Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, right? And they were in the cave. And he said to his friend, La tahzan, don't be sad. Don't be sad. Then Allah mentioned right after that, فَأَنزَلَ اللَّهُ سَكِينَتَهُ عَلَيْهِ. Then Allah sent down is tranquility, showing that if a person, if trials happen to a person and it does not go, generally for a lot of us, right, we have been brought up when things happen that what? We spaz out, we get angry, we throw a tantrum, right? Or we become extremely sad. But if a person is pleased with the decree of Allah and does not go, he does not go either way, but rather is pleased that what Allah decreed for him, Allah Azza wa Jalla will send tranquility upon him. Allah will send tranquility upon him. It says, فَالْمُسْلِمْ فِي جَمِيلِ أَحْوَالِهِ مُطْمَئِنْ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ. It says, a believer, a Muslim, in all of his circumstances, right? Whether it is good or bad, he is in a state of tranquility. He is in a state of tranquility. He does not spaz out. He doesn't act out. Nor does he go into extreme. He holds himself together. That's the point. A person holds himself together. It says, وهذا دليل على الإيمان بقضاء الله وقدره. It said this is the sign. This is the sign of a person being pleased with the decree of Allah. This is a sign of a person being pleased with the decree of Allah. When you don't act out, and you hold yourself together, and you don't get angry as well too. Like I said, in this kind of environment we're in, this is the norm. All right. Even when you see what is happening now, when ISIS is detaining people, right? People are screaming and yelling and acting out and do all kind of stuff. But rather, a person, a believer, he just is tranquil. And when you do this, even your mind is, you can think properly. You know what I'm saying? Like you can think properly. You actually know what to do, but when you are spazzing out and you're acting out, you lose the sense of what you do. So he says, so he continues, he said that also when the Muslims, even when the Muslim went to the battle of Uhud, right? That Allah causes them, when they go to the battle, Allah causes it's called nu'as, it's like a sleep to overcome them, because they're in the state of battle, they're fighting. But due to the nature of the situation they're in, but because they are calm, Allah causes them to go to sleep. Allah causes them to go to sleep. He said, وَفِي aman. He said, in sleep is security, because a person, when in a state of a state that is really cause you tremendous fear, if you go to this sleep and that state, it's kind of safety for a person. He says, then I mentioned in verse in Surah Al-Anfal verse 11, where Allah said that Allah causes the sleep to overcome them in the state of battle. Allah causes sleep to overcome them. So he said, وَلِهَذَا كَانَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ مُطْمَئِنِينَ وَهُمْ فِي وَسْطِ الْوَغَى, meaning that when the believers, they were in the state, when they were in the battle, they were in the state of tranquility. So he mentioned that this is where a believer is not the one. ليس عنده القلق واضطراب عند الحدوث المصائب. It's that a believer is the person that it doesn't fall into the state of sadness when situation happened to him. Right? It doesn't fall in the state of sadness. So also the Shaykh continues. He says, we mentioned that there are two types of decree of Allah. We have the decree that is worldly decree, the decree that is a worldly decree, and the decree that is this Islamic decree. Meaning that the second one is that if Allah decrees something upon us, if Allah tells us to pray, why we don't have a problem with praying. Some people don't have problem in doing that. They're going in the state of, so why do we have to do this? Or why do we have to fast in Ramadan and so on and so forth? Right? So he mentioned the statement of Allah Azza wa Jal in Surah An-Nisa verse 65, where Allah said, فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ. He said, by your Lord, they do not truly believe until they make you the judge between what happened between them. Because we are in a situation, subhanAllah, we are in an environment where people, a lot of us, we ask Allah to guide us, because our iman is not there yet. Right? Some of us, we don't want to judge by Islamic decree. For example, when a woman has a situation with her husband sometimes, Islamic way of divorce and things like that, or things like the way we handle things Islamic is different from the way the kuffar handle their thing. Right? It's different. Right? If there's a problem between husband and wife, it's not the same way, it's not the same thing. Right? The way to resolve it is not the way that the kuffar resolve it. Islam has some procedures or protocol on how to resolve issues. From that is that if a husband and wife have a disagreement, it is recommended for people on both sides of both sides, from the husband's side and the wife's side, come together to try to see how to help them resolve the issue. Right? Here, the person that helped them resolve the issue is the court. Right? And in this kuffar land, because of promoting feminism, right, they give more authority to women and the men. Right? So if a man go to the court, right, his chances, right, his chance of getting the justice is slim, right? Isn't that the case? The system here is biased towards the women for the most part, right? And even in this kind of environment, it's promoted for a woman to get a divorce. That's the reality, right? And actually, there are services, there are governmental services that help a woman to be able to be independent of the man. They promote that. Whether it's through child support, they almost take all his money. Whether it's what do you call it?
Section 8 housing.
Section 8 housing. All of those things promoting a woman getting that. Because the society it does not promote family, but promote women's independence, as they call it. And that's why you have divorce is so rampant in the society. But rather in Islam, marriage is promoted. Because Islam is concerned about not the husband and wife, but also the children. Because when divorce happens, the children is going to suffer for the most from the divorce. The children are going to suffer the most. So Islam put some protocol in place to help marriage work, to make things because by the society breaking apart, by the family breaking apart, it leads to this breakup of the society. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is mentioned in this verse. He says, by your Lord, they do not believe until they make you, O Muhammad, the judge with what happened amongst them. You know, the true sense of a person's iman is to use Islam as the judge. Some of the Muslims don't do that. They want to judge by the system of the kuffar, and that's blameworthy, and is a sign of hypocrisy in a person. It's a sign of hypocrisy. So Allah says that by your Lord they do not truly believe until they make you the judge between them. And Allah said in another place, فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِ. Allah said in another place, and if you disagree amongst yourself between something, you should return it back to Allah and His Messenger. Meaning that you should judge by the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You should judge by that. That a person not judging by that is a sign of a person's hypocrisy. Then he mentioned the situation that happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ when there's a dispute between a Muslim and a Jew, a person who claims Islam. He said, let's go to such and such, and let's go to the Muslim, the person that claimed Islam said, let's go to the Jew to join between us. But the Jew said, let's go to the Prophet ﷺ to join between us. Then this is the reason why the verse was revealed. Allah said, by your Lord they do not truly believe until they make you, O Muhammad, the judge between them. Everything that happened within the Muslims, amongst Muslims, it should be returned back to Allah. It should be returned to the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He said, so he said that الرسول ليس محكما في الأمور في الأمور أموال فقط. He said because the issue that happened between this person was between money. They have issue between these people regards money. So the Sheikh is saying that the Prophet ﷺ is not only judged between the issue of money alone, but he judged with all of the issues. وَإِنَّمَا فِي كُلِّ الْأُمُورِ, in all of the affairs. وَفِي كُلِّ الْخِلَافِ, and all of the disagreements. سَوَاءً كَانَ فِي الْعَقِيدَةِ, even what is a belief system, we return our face back to the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, فَلَا بُدَّ الرُّجُوعِ فلا بد أن نرجع في كل قضايا التي أنشأها عنها الاختلاف في كتاب والسنة في كتاب والسنة. We should return it back to the Book of Allah. Every disagreement that happened, we should return back to the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. لأن الله أنزل الكتاب ليحكم بين الناس فيما اختلفوا فيه. Because Allah sent the book and the Sunnah down to judge amongst the people on what they disagree about. This is the point of Allah sending the messenger, so that this is a law for all mankind. For all mankind. He said, فَإِذَا حَكَمُوا الرَّسُولُ صلى الله عليه وسلم وحكموا لهم أو عليهم ثم وجدوا أنفسهم حرجا لم يسلموا. He says, Allah said that if the messenger judge between them, if Allah judge between them, or if messenger of Allah, if a Prophet judge between them, whether it's for them or against them, they submit to it. They have to submit to it. Meaning that if you do not submit to it, that's an indication that their faith, they have no faith. He says, whether it's for them, he says, فهذا دليل على عدم وجود الإيمان في قلوبهم. He says, if they do not accept, if they do not submit to this, this is an indication that they do not have faith in their heart. لأنه من صفات المؤمن أنه يرضى بحكم الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم لا عليه. He said that because from the characteristics of a believer is that he submits to the ruling. He submits to the ruling of the Prophet ﷺ, or the judgment of Allah and the Messenger, whether it's for him, whether against him. Type. So, any question before we move on? No question?
So, just in the beginning part of that chapter, we went over the marks of the Muslim.
Yeah.
So, Muslim, true Muslim, doesn't give in to anger.
Does not give in to anger now. Just like he doesn't give in to depression as well too now. That whatever Allah causes, whatever happens to him, he believes that is from the decree of Allah. And he's pleased with that. Now.
Now, this Western society, the way most of us have been conditioned, lived our lives, and kind of have already have this program that's in our system.
Now.
Although we know the marks of the Muslim and we strive to that,
Right.
if that's not your natural disposition and you may have a little bit of trouble, I guess, getting there.
Right.
How do you, for example, I guess what I'm trying to ask is this: something utterly terrible happens to you. You know, you see what's happening of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's saying true mind Genesis still have it branch a lot and they cut them to the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
The worst of situations and keeping their iman strong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but here, you know, it's a revert, and it's, especially when you're programmed a certain way.
Right.
Sometimes it can be a bit more difficult to accept things that are tragic when they happen.
Right.
And so we believe in Allah, but what are some steps that you would prescribe to someone who's having a hard time becoming that strong Muslim
Nah.
figure that we describe?
Now, it is important to understand that Allah Azza wa Jal sent this Quran down to better human being in general. Right? Everything Allah legislates is for our own benefit, for our betterment, for us. And many of us, like I said, we've been programmed to be in a certain way. Sometimes, for some people, it's easy to be able to get over that thing. And some people hard. But the point is to slowly get better. First of all, it's having knowledge first. When you have knowledge, then you start working on implementation. You may not be able to, you may be 100% at some point. Right? Then you may come back down to 90. Then you come back to 80. The more you make efforts, Allah will make it easy for you. As Allah said, وَمَا يَتَصَبَّرْ يُصَبِّرُهُ اللَّهُ. Whoever strives to be patient, Allah will help him to be patient. Right? Allah will help him to be patient. Just like anything else that we do. Right? Some of us, looking at Ramadan, for example, like, man, I have to fast 30 days. That's tough.
Yeah, but you give the effort.
But you get effort. And you'll be surprised that, man, I can actually do this. It's not even that bad. Even though in the beginning it probably was hard. But as you move, like, you know what? It got easier. Right? And not only that, even some of the muharramat, some of the haram things that a person used to do. Right? Some people used to drink. Some people used to smoke weed. Right? Some people used to chase women. Alhamdulillah. And some of these things, they were hard. They were hard for some of us. But as time goes on, as we move in to start practicing Deen, it becomes easier as time. And we don't pay attention to this sometimes. And sometimes we look back to ourselves like, man, do I used to do that? We don't see how Allah helped us to be able to get to the next phase. So the first thing is to know this thing and the person making effort. Allah is the one that in reality helps a person. As long as you have the intention and you make the effort, Allah will make it easy for you. See what I'm saying? Allah will make it easy for you. A person may not be able to go from, you may not be able to quit cold turkey, right? You can't, most people can't do that, right? But Allah will make it easy for them that slowly but surely, you go from 100 to like maybe 50. Or maybe, even not even 50, maybe like 90, then 95, then 90 to 95, then 85, then until you're totally rid of that thing.
The
Nah.
ultimate prescription means to read and study the Quran.
From that is a person just holding yourself fearing Allah Azza wa Jal, and holding yourself accountable, slowly but surely, right? And making efforts.
Right.
Now,
And that's more of a personal thing.
right,
I guess to actually begin to make that process easier, I guess to have a glue, the relationship that you form with the Quran is what
Yeah, reading Quran is one of those things. Also, when things happen, when calamity happens, we have been recommended to go and make our salah, right? At the time when situation happen, it's recommended that we go make wudu.
Yeah.
And then the Sheikh is going to mention that a person feeling angry is, is like a cold that Shaitan throws in the heart of a person. It's like hard cold that Shaitan is the one that get a person excited. But by a person making wudu, that tension will go down. By making wudu. And another thing, a person should pray. And if a person is standing, it's recommended that a person sit down. Right? All of these things help the person in maintaining their calm, in trying to get over whether it's anger or whether it's sadness. Whether it's anger. Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. Seek help in being patient and in salah. Seek help in being patient and in salah. Meaning that being patient, making effort to be patient, and through salah, ask Allah. But through salah, ask Allah for what you need. Oh Allah, make these things easy for me. Whatever I'm going through, Allah, make it easy for me. Oh Allah, help me to do, to go through what I'm going through. Oh Allah, remove this hardship from me. And in the salah itself also is that tranquility that you get when you pray salah after hardship. The Prophet says to do that. When things was hard for him, he would say Bilal, he would call Bilal to let's establish prayer. He would go and pray. So these are the way of maintaining that. It is not from the way of the believer that he spazzes out and he goes crazy. And we know that a person's situation will get worse. Right? How many times have you seen some of the cops, some of them they are criminals, some of them are bad, but sometimes you find that a police who's actually doesn't intend to do you harm. But you see some videos, some people sometimes, they just be going crazy. And the police have no choice but either tase them or shoot them. You see what I'm saying? So we find that sometimes that situation get worse sometimes. Even with friends sometimes. An issue that you may want to resolve it. Right? But because you're going crazy, the person didn't want to deal with you anymore. Like, you know what? I'm done. Right? Especially with some of the women sometimes. The marriage men don't want to deal with women sometimes because of how crazy they are. Right? Some of the women can be very disrespectful. You see what I'm saying? And some of the men too, to be fair. Right? So, we know that a person controlling their temper when things happen, Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah will send tranquility upon them and be able to help them to make right decisions, rather than to a person spazzing out and flipping out and causing more trouble for themselves than is necessary. So, so that's basically that, inshallah. Any other questions?
I know we'll move on.
No.
But I just want to reaffirm you. So, just by striving and making the effort to stay calm, Allah He gives you a boost.
You get a boost. Nah.
Persistence.
Yes.
Sees your intention.
Right.
To stay calm, to fight the urge
to fight the hurt. Yes.
be angry or to be depressed.
Nah.
And it's like He gives you extra push.
That's very yes.
Very encouraging.
Right.
Yeah.
Nah.
And I can attest to that.
Nah. So the Sheikh,
It makes sense.
so he says, the hadith of the Prophet, this hadith, he move on to hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where the Prophet ﷺ says hadith, لَيْسَ الشَّدِيدُ بِالسُّرْعَةِ وإنما الشديد الذي يملك نفسه عند الغضب. The Prophet says in the hadith that the strong is not the one that's quick to get angry, right? But the strong is the one that controls his anger. That the one that controls himself at the time of anger. This is a really strong one. In the society we live in, like I said, right, the more angry, that's the idea, or that's the delusion that it's like the more angry you get, the stronger, or some people they punch the wall, right? Or they go do some crazy things, right? The Prophet is telling us, the strong is not the one, because that's easy to get angry, very easy to get angry. But the strong is the one that controls his anger, or to control himself at the time of anger, right? And that is also from a person being, whether a person does something to you, or that you control your anger. Like I said, most of us we struggle with that. We ask Allah to help us, but it is not that it may be difficult to come from 0 to 100, but rather a person making an intention to come down, to be patient, then Allah Azza wa Jalla will give that person success. So the Shaykh says, كون المسلم يمسك نفسه عند الغضب فلا تحصل منه مبادرات السيئات ولا تصرفات الخاطئة فإن هذا من اطمئنان الذي يرزقه الله لمن يشاء من عباده. It says a person holding himself at the time of anger and not hastening to do an evil action. Because when the anger comes, the next thing happens to either you curse somebody out, all right, or you say something bad. He said this is what Allah gives to whoever He wills from His servants. This is a blessing Allah gives some people. Some people don't know how to control themselves. Something crazy happened, they come. But some people are not able to do that. He says, but a person that does not have that, but rather he holds himself, right? He reins his anger, he holds that, and does not go with his anger. He said a person who does that, either a person has a weak faith, or a person does not have faith at all. Meaning that a person going with anger and spazzing out is a sign of a person's weakness, of a person's faith, or a person does not have faith at all. And of course, we know that our faith fluctuates. It doesn't mean that the person is not a believer. It just means that at the time that you are acting out, your faith is weak. Your faith is weak. So by having knowledge, it means that you need to rein yourself in. Control yourself. Because this is pleasing to Allah Azza wa Jalla. This is pleasing to Allah. He says, Alhamdulillah. He said, وَالْحَدِيث فِيهِ إِرْشَادٍ إِلَّا أَنَّ مَنْ أَغْضَبَهُ أَمْرُ وَأَرَدْ نَفْسَهُ الْمُبَرَّ إِلَى الْإِنْتِقَامِ مِمَّنْ أَغْضَبَهَا. He says, this hadith is telling us, it's a guide for us, that whoever something happens to him, may something upset him, right? He should not hasten to get upset, or take a revenge on the one person who upset him. But rather he should hold himself back until the anger subside from him. He should hold himself back until anger subside from him. He says, فالله وصف المؤمنين بقوله. He said Allah described the believers in Surah Ash-Shura verse 38. وَإِذَا غَضِبُوا وَإِذَا مَا غَضِبُوا وَهُمْ يَكْفُرُونَ. That if the believer, Allah, one of the characteristics of the believers, that when they were, somebody upset them, they forgive. They forgive. Allah said in another place in Surah Shura, وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةُ. Allah said that the good and bad are not the same. The good and bad are not the same. He said, idfa billati hiya ahsan. He said that repel evil with good. Meaning that if somebody does something bad to you, repel it by repel it with good. It's hard. It's hard because of the environment that we are used to, what the society promotes. But this is what is pleasing to Allah. That a person does something to you, you repel it. But also, it's also important to know that you are not blameworthy if you repel. If someone do bad to you and you repel with the same, as long as you do not go beyond. Meaning, for example, if somebody slap you, and you slap them back, there's no sin upon you, right? But the sin is when, if they slap you and you punch them hard, right? Then you have crossed the bounds, right? So we have 3 levels, 3 situations when it comes to a situation like that. When somebody upsets you or something, either you're going to forgive that person, right? Either you're going to say, you know what, you did this to me, and I'm forgive you. I don't want to fight you. And you return evil with good. That's one. Or you're going to return it back with the same thing that the person did to you. Or you're going to go beyond bounds, right? The first one is praiseworthy, meaning that you forgive that person and say, you know what, you did this to me, I forgive you, I ask Allah to forgive you, and I have nothing. That's good. That's the best one. The second way, the second best way is to, or the second best way is to, you say, you know what, no, I'm not going to have that. And you, but you do, as long as you don't go to beyond bounds, right? That's fine. And the third thing is when you go beyond bounds and you harm the person way more than they harm you. So that's regarding to that. Now, right. The Sheikh says that he continued. Now.
Ideally, it would be to do the most praiseworthy action.
Now.
Right? But human nature is you allow someone to get away with something. So I allow you to smack me
right.
the first time,
and
I forgive you.
Now.
I become a punching bag and for everyone, for the person who did it.
Right.
And for everyone who's witnessed.
Right. In that particular case, it is if you Islam is about looking at the greater. Also, from that point, that if you fear that will lead to you being a target, then it is recommended that you stop that. Well, brother, it's obligatory that you stop that. To stop that, because Islam is about weighing the evil and the good. If you feel like feel like, you know what, if I forgive this person, right, he will make him, he will change, he will become more lenient, he will feel sorry, that's recommended. But also, if you feel like this person, by me not if I let it go, it's gonna make me even go beyond bounds. It is obligatory for him to stop that person as well too. Now, so he says so he says that so he mentioned the statement of Allah Azza wa Jalla in Surah Al-Fussilat, verse 34 and 35. Allah says regarding the people that are who are patient when somebody did something bad to them. He said, وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا. He said, no one is able to be patient when people harm them except those who are patient. وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا ذُو حَدٍّ عَظِيمٍ. That no one is able to do except what Allah has given a great portion. Whoever has this ability to be patient when people harm you, this is something great that Allah give you for be patient when having been patient in times of right? He says لأن الشيطان يحضر عند الغضب. He said because shaitan is present at the time of anger. Shaitan wants to incite people to be angry. Huh? He said والغضب جمرة يلقيها الشيطان في قلب ابن آدم. He says anger is like is a hard coal that Shaitan throws in the heart of the children of Adam. This anger, right? It's a hard coal. It's like a hard coal that Shaitan throws in the heart. Shaitan is the one that incites people to get angry. وهو يحمل الغضبان على أن يعصي الله. So the shaitan is the one that carry a person to disobey Allah. Shaitan wants people to disobey Allah because when you get angry, what happens? You say all kind of stuff. You do all kind of stuff. You curse people out. You do all kind of stuff. This is the result of it. People get killed as well from that as well too. Right? He says, وَرُبَّمَا حَمَلَهُ عَلَى الْكُفْرِ. He said, rather the anger may carry a person to disbelieve in Allah Azza wa Jalla, to commit the act of kufr. You know? وَيَعْذُ بِاللَّهِ. أو على القتل, or a person to kill somebody. أو على السب والشتم, or a person to use evil words and to say all kinds of discriminatory things. It says, and so on and so forth. It says, أما المؤمن فإنه يملك نفسه. He says, as for believer, he holds himself. He said, وهذا شبهه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بأنه أقوى الناس. So the Prophet described this person to be a stronger of the people. That's why Allah, Prophet mentioned in a hadith that it is not the one who is strong, the one that rushes to get angry. But the one is strong is the one that holds himself back at the time of anger. Because holding yourself at a time of anger is difficult than getting angry. Right? So he says, he said that وإنما هو الذي يملك نفسه عند الغضب بما أعطاه الله من قوة الإيمان. He says the one that hold himself back down in anger is the one who is strong with what Allah has given him from faith. Right? Because what makes a believer be able to hold himself back from not getting angry is due to his iman. It's due to his faith. Of course, we know that Allah bless some people, even though they are kuffar, they have the ability, Allah bless them with the ability to be not get angry. And that's just what Allah gave some people. But a believer actually not getting angry when someone upset him, from that is due to his iman, due to his faith. He said, He said, وَهِيَ أَقْوَى مِنْ قُوَّةِ الْبَدَنِ. And this is even this is stronger. A person holding himself down from anger is stronger than the physical strength. Right, isn't it? Stronger than physical strength. To be able to hold your anger back, right, is stronger than a person being physically strong. He says, والحاصل من هذا أن الانفعال مع الغضب يعد الكبائر من كبائر الذنوب. He says, لا سيما إذا ترتب عليه المعصية. He says, the summary of this is that a person acting upon anger is regarded from the major sins. It's regarded from the major sins, especially if it leads to a person disobeying Allah. Like a person using a word that is not, curse words, right? Or a person killing somebody, or a person, abusing, verbally abusing a person, right? Or which may lead a person to, disbelieving and things like that. This is even, if it leads to a person doing this, then this is from the major sin. How much time we have left? 6:36. Time. I think we should. If you have any questions, inshallah, we'll take it. But other than that, I think we should stop there. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبي محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.